Hello everyone, welcome to my first month of a flip through for January. So let's kick us off with the cover page, which didn't change for January, but I love it, so I'm going to be showing it off all the time. So kicking off January, I have my 2024 hopefuls. So these are books that are publishing this year that I really enjoyed having already read. So someone like Valley Verified or Red String Theory, I already read, love them, but they're coming out this year, so I'm really excited to kind of showcase them. And then everything else on here are books that are coming out this year that I'm really wanting to read. And if I've read it or if I already own it, I have this little green mark right here. I need to add it for the Paradise Problem, but I'll do that later. My 24 for 24, I want to make sure I was reading at least 24 books by BIPOC authors. And after January, I realized I hadn't read any. And that was just a huge wake-up call that I need to make sure I'm really intentional with diversifying my reads. So the rest of the year, we should definitely hit these 24 for 24. For book talk memories, I just like to write down things that really excited me that I can look back on and reflect. And then for my year of books, so I went ahead and I read 8, and then I'm just piling up the information on the side. So that's, over 2,600 pages, no audiobooks, which I definitely need to make sure I change in February, for a total of 8 books. This is my shelf so far. I read a lot of romance. I anticipate this being mostly read, and I'm okay with that because I really like romance. That's the genre of my preference. But I do want to make sure that I get to diversify and read different books by different genres, different types of authors, and just making sure I do diversify a little bit. Book of the year, I'm still debating between 2 of them. It's most likely going to be Paradise Problem though, just because I devoured that book and I just need to print it out and piece it here. Reading tracker. So because I didn't read any audio, I didn't have any yellow, I didn't have any orange or purple or this teal. So it was a lot of reds, blues, and greens. And then for genre, all romance minus this Legends and Lattes little sprint that I had towards the end of January. For book of the month and aardvark, I both skipped January. I just wasn't resonating with any of the books. And if I'm not really excited to read it, I'm probably not going to pick it for this year. But for February, I've heard really, really good things about Ready or Not by Cara Bastone. I think it's Bastone. So I'm really excited to read that one. And then for aardvark, I'm still going back and forth on what book I physically want. It's probably going to be Valley Verified. And I already know for March, they were teasing Bride by Allie Hazelwood. I got to read Bride as an ARC, devoured it, loved it, and so I'm probably going to also pick Bride for my March. For NetGalley, I am part of the Berkeley, Bloom, Forever, Simon, St. Martin's Press. There's a lot of publishers that I'm with right now for their influencer programs, and so I'm not requesting a ton just because I want to make sure I have time to read all of them. But I did want to go ahead and apply for these, and this one hurt my feelings. So Berkeley, if you see this, the X-Files by Jessica Joyce, that made me sad. Moving along. For book club books, I have 2. We read Legends and Lattes for my Geomancer class, or my Geomancer club. Black Ties and White Lies for my Hopeless Romantics. And then right now we're reading the Inheritance Games. For Joyful Chaos, there's definitely books we've been reading, but I need to make sure that I'm buddy reading with someone to go ahead and count it on this page. For review the books, definitely need to go in and finish reviewing. I only reviewed 3, and now I need to go in and review the remaining 5. This is just a quick follower count. I like to track that. And then the page that's giving me a lot of anxiety is my gifted book page. When I made this, I was like, there's no way this is going to get filled up. And for January and February, so far, 4 days into February, it's getting full. And so I'm panicking. I might have to make, additional bulletin boards on this page. This was going to be like a yearly wrap up. But I think it's just going to need to be another bulletin board and Yep, I'm panicking. I mean, I love getting gifted books, do not get me wrong, but I was not expecting this much. And I'm very, very grateful, but now I'm like, ooh, how do I showcase those books that are gifted? And now we are in my January wrap up. So this is all the books I read, the rating, how many pages they are, what format they were. And this is new to me this year. So I did not do this last year. And I really just want to capture, you know, if I read physical, ebook, audio eventually will be here, different genres, BIPOC versus not BIPOC, which I know I have to make sure I'm diversifying my reading. And then indie versus traditional, because I really want to make sure I'm highlighting more indie authors. Again, pages read, audio listened, and then author chats. So Kat Singleton actually came in to our Hopeless Romantics book club at the bookstore that we have our meeting at, and it was so fun to get to talk to her. And then Sarah joined us on Zoom for Joyful Chaos, and The Last Call of the Locals, one of my favorite books of last year. So getting to hear her talk was amazing. And then I'm just doing my favorite quote of each month. So now getting into the fun part, which is all of the books I read and their pages. So The Art of Catching Feelings was the first one I read for 2024, followed by The Breakup Tour. These were both so fun to read. I lovingly call this my Rachel page because both of these books were written by a Rachel, and they have very similar colors and vibes. And so this whole page is just like purple, blue, pink prettiness that I love so much. Kissing Bandit, I got my physical book from my friend Margaret over the weekend. It publishes February 6th, so if you're watching this video after February 6th, this is out to purchase as paperback or through KU. And then Kill Trip, I got a very cute PR package from. It publishes in March, and it is so Scottish, and I fell in love with this book. It is so sweet. And then we have Legends and Lattes, which was such a fun, cozy read. I'm so glad it was picked for book club because it's not one I normally would read on my own, but I was really excited to get to read it. And then one that I will be posting to my Instagram. So if you're looking at my Instagram after February 5th, you will see this reel, but The Paradise Problem. I was saving this one because I love this book so much. If Christina Lauren writes it, I'm going to read it. The Unhoneymooners was like my favorite book of 2022, and this one is good. It publishes in May, and this is an absolute must for your summer read. But yeah, that's where I'm at so far in January, and really excited for y'all to be sticking around with me, and I'm really excited for what February has to offer.